If it's been a while since you were last in a bar, you might be surprised by what's getting ordered.
The Manhattan, the Old Fashioned,
a Sazerac,
a real martini, a Moscow Mule.
Sidecar is a brandy-based Prohibition cocktail.
Today we find out why the classic cocktails of yesteryear are making a big comeback in On the Menu.
On the Menu is sponsored by the Timberlanes Complex.
Shake this till your hand's frozen.
Here at the Speakeasy Lounge in Warren, bartender Paul Lataw prepares a vodka martini.
It should come out real frothed like that.
While you can get a martini just about anywhere,
put a little bit of the overflow with it.
Lataw says it's the little extra steps that really make the difference.
There is a proper martini.
And ordering a proper drink, whether it's a Manhattan, a mojito, or an old-fashioned, is growing in popularity, especially among millennials.
I think part of it is you can't go out and drink like you used to. You know, you have to be responsible, so you can only have one or two drinks, so you want a really good drink.
Lataw isn't alone in noticing the trend.
I think a lot of the millennial set is starting to rediscover a lot of the old cocktails, the Manhattans, the Old Fashions.
Just down the road at Barrel 33 in Howland, owner Mark Rhodes is seeing an uptick in patrons looking for classic cocktails.
There's sort of two movements in the cocktail world. There's what we call the classic cocktails, which were the cocktails pre-Prohibition. So that's your Manhattan, your Old Fashioned, and then there's the craft movement, which started sort of in the 40s, 50s, and 60s, and that's things like your Moscow Mules.
What's old is new again. I think people are starting to wonder what it was about those old drinks that their grandparents and parents and maybe their great-grandparents really enjoyed and experienced.
Jeff Kurtz, owner of Imbibe Martini Bar and Ryes Craft Beer and Whisky in downtown Youngstown, says more customers are learning to appreciate the work that goes into mixing a proper cocktail.
And if you even just looking at the pictures, you can see the pride that the bartenders took in making them. They were crafting something for you and they felt proud in doing it. And I think people are starting to come back to that. And what we see here trend-wise is we see people asking more for those Prohibition cocktails.
Which means today's bartenders have to be top shelf.
I think the first thing with any good bartender or mixologist is personality.
Well, you need speed. You need to be accurate.
Practice, patience, and communication.
More booze is not the answer. You know, you're going for a balance for flavor. You need to make an honest cocktail. You need to put booze in the cocktail.
I'm looking for people that do want to study and learn. I have over 100 bourbons, whiskeys, and scotches, and I'd like somebody who can be able to talk about the differences.
It's important that we communicate people what we have so their expectations fall in line with what we're going to be pouring them.
Splash of rye.
And there's a lot to learn. Whiskey alone can be a daunting subject.
Whiskey generally comes from America. Bourbon generally comes from Kentucky. Then when you get to Scotland, you of course have Scotches, and within Scotland you have what's called Highland and Lowland.
There's also Japanese whiskey.
Some of the highest rated whiskeys out there come from Japan nowadays.
Irish whiskey and Canadian whiskey.
Theirs tend to be pretty high in rye.
With so much information out there, even the most experienced bartender still gets stumped from time to time.
Boulevardier. I said, wow, okay.
We're actually also seeing some drinks that we really didn't expect to come back, but they are. We've been serving a lot of Godfathers, and the Godfather is Scotch and an Amaretto. Now there's an old-fashioned drink for you.
We're going to throw some black cherries in there in season, so I keep a couple in the bar.
To keep things fresh, each establishment puts their own twist on the classics. At the Speakeasy, Lataw, who is also the chef, tries to bring his experience in the kitchen out to the bar.
We use flame out here. We'll torch different things like garnishes. And you torch like an orange peel. You're going to get a totally different flavor out of it than if you just put an orange peel in.
Here at Barrel 33, they're offering a different take on the classic Manhattan.
Put in a little 5-liter barrel, let it sit for about a month, and then just like a good soup, sometimes gets better a couple days later, while some cocktails get much better a few months later.
You can pour the shot in the drink, or you can simply take a sip of the whiskey, sip of the beer.
Meanwhile at Ryes, they're updating an old working class standard.
We have a Boilermaker menu up here where we match whiskeys and beers together that complement each other. It's sort of a tip of the cap to the old steel days and the old steel workers. But we're making it Youngstown, but we're making it modern Youngstown.
And while every bar makes every drink a little different,
so I'm going to take this and mull this up gently.
No mashing and mulling of anything else in there.
They all agree the cocktail trend is likely to grow.
And they look at old pictures and they see that people just aren't sitting there having, a shot of well vodka. They're not sitting there just having a Jack and Coke. They are drinking something that has been crafted for them.
Cocktails now, because the people interact with them, I think they enjoy that, and I really don't see it going anywhere. I see it staying and growing, if anything.
I think so. I think the people that, I mean, if you're just going out to drink and get drunk, then, you know, you're looking for something different. But if you're looking for an experience, if you're looking for an education, if you're looking for change and, you know, willingness to try different things, I think the cocktail movement will continue to grow and continue to get better.
The story behind this video, as well as other content not available online, can be found in the August issue of the Business Journal. Click the subscribe tab to order your copy today.